Our next guest is editor-in-chief of the Armenian Weekly, spotlighting Armenian culture, history, and politics in the diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lilly Torosyan.
Բարև բոլորին, բարևներ, do both Eastern and Western. Yeah, very excited and humbled to be here after hearing so many interesting and fruitful discussions today. I'm going to be talking about the Armenian Weekly, which is it's a paper with a very long history, also based in the Boston area, like the Mirror Spectator. So it is the English language newspaper of the Hayrenik Association. The Hayrenik has been around since the 1890s. I believe it's the oldest extant diasporan paper. So we came later in the 1930s, created by mainly that first Armenian, American-born Armenian American generation. There was a need to create some sort of forum for this young community to engage with their Armenian culture and community outside of the Armenian language because they could not read and write. So as a response to all of those letters to the editor, the editors decided that they would just start an English language publication 2 years after the Mirror Spectator did. So I think for me what's exciting is the fact that the roots of the paper are very much informed by the youth. And I'd like to still think that I represent that demographic. I believe right now the paper is the youngest it's been, ironically enough. All of our core team, we're all women. On behalf of International Women's Day, I thought I could spotlight that. And I'm the oldest member of the team. So we're very young. We represent diasporas from Iran to Syria to Armenia, US, like Eastern, Western. We have queer Armenians. We have it's a very interesting group right now where if we're talking about diversity, that's one of the big themes here. I think how we have this incredible legacy of 100 years of being a space for voices for the Armenian community in this country to have an outlet. And now as this next 100 years goes, I think it will be, it's a little intimidating, I have to say, to see what that's going to look like, because after listening to so many of the speeches today about technology, all of these amazing organizations utilizing technology in incredibly innovative ways. We started out with Garo Armen talking about cancer research. We had people talking about, like Stepan, about building drones and planting trees with ATP. And I think all of these are incredibly active ways of exerting and living an identity that is incredibly exciting, and it's less about the same old how to preserve or maintain Armenianness in whatever context and actually doing things, right, for the diaspora, for Armenia, utilizing this resource that I think Aram touched upon a little bit, and we talked about it a little bit when we were introduced to each other today, about how a newspaper, a print media, survives in this context. I think technology for us is a little scarier. Like when Gato was talking about his writer kids being a little weary of AI. For us, I think how we utilize new forms of media and communication, whether that's social media, whether that's, I don't know what that could look like in the next decades, will be incredibly important for us. But I also want to stress that it's something that's incredibly vital, and I think I'm very excited to see what that will look like for the next generation, because when the papers were founded 100 years ago, there weren't any other options. There were no phones, let alone AI and social media. So that was a very vanguard way to interact and link all of these different communities together. And for me, I'm incredibly humbled for so many reasons, but one of the things that came up a lot for me in terms of language is the very early roots of the paper. In the 1890s, as a lot of us may know, this was the first generation of Armenian Americans to come here, were mainly laborers and also survivors of the Hamidian massacres. So the paper in that generation was an important way for them to get communication and news from their families abroad. And after the genocide, during and after the genocide, it served a very crucial role that I didn't grow up knowing. And so I wonder how many here will know that there were bulletin boards, essentially, for years after the genocide of Armenian Americans who were posting listings, just looking for their lost relatives. And in the Armenian language, the Hairenik version, they would always start with big, bold, gapındervin, which is passive voice. They are being searched for. So I thought, how interesting that they're using passive voice to do something that is so active in really rebuilding and repairing family trees, essentially finding missing branches in a time when there were, like I said, no telephones, not even telegram. So I think that it's incumbent upon us to not be so afraid of change and incorporating these new technologies, because I think it's in the spirit of the paper in those early days. So I guess I just wanted to say that for us, it's a little bit, it's a little different coming at it from the perspective of a media organization, and a lot of people talk about how print media is dead, and I think perhaps in that particular form it might be, but seeing all of these amazing initiatives that I think could be tapped into with the media world, the traditional Armenian world, Armenian media world. I think I'm very excited to get to know more of you. Gonna do a little bit of the same pitch that Aram did about, please, if you want to write for us, with us, if you want your organizations, your initiatives spotlit, we really want to, be that bulletin board, I guess, in a different capacity now, hopefully lighter, but not always. So, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily, for the very thoughtful presentation.